Let's get this Behringer SD8 working with your Behringer WING. Now, with AES50 and the Behringer WING, it does need to be a shielded Cat5e cable, as well as it's recommended to have the EtherCon shell, as well as the shield grounding to the shell. That way you have a robust connection. Now, the Behringer WING has a max distance on AES50 of 80 meters. Now, for you, those of you who come from the Behringer X32, the published spec for the X32 is 100 meters. So do keep that in mind, that the max length is 80 meters for AES50 with the Behringer WING. So keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and get this connected in. On the back of your Behringer WING, you have 3 AES50 ports. So just go ahead and pick one. I'm going to plug this into A. Then on the SD8 side, we'll plug the other side into the A port. Do not plug this into the B port, as that will not have this actually function, and you do not need to route 2 cables to the same wing. You can expand this out to another stage box if you want to, but you cannot run a primary and secondary. There is only one line that should be connected between your stage box and your Behringer WING. If this is your only Behringer WING, you need to go to Setup, Audio, and make sure that your sync source is on internal, because all of the AES50 devices will be pulling from this sync. If this is set to something else, there should be a very good reason of why you're choosing that. For instance, if you're using Dante, you should be selecting WING Dante. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to go to Routing, and we can go to our sources. Now, if we go to Source Group, we can then go to AES50 A. And once we get here, we will see a little SD8 symbol right here, which we can press and see what inputs this device is going to actually show up as. So once we have this, we can then go in here and rename if we'd like, or we can change our icon and color, and we can even set our preamp gain right here on this screen. Now, once we have that set, then we can go to our channels and we can route this to any channel that we want to. So for instance, if I wanted to route this to my channels 25 through 32, I can pull up my source group as AES50 A, unlock, press this +1 auto, select my channel 25, and then I can start routing these one at a time. Now on the output side, we would go to our outputs, go to our output group of AES50A, and then if we press and hold this, we will see that we have the selection of 1 through 24, meaning that the SD8 has the availability of pulling from any of these 8 groups that we have. So 1 through 8, 9 through 16, or 17 through 24, and that's all dependent on what this switch is set to. So if we wanted to have 1 through 8 here, we can actually route any of our channels here. So for instance, if I wanted to change this from being in-ear 1 to being a output of my mains, I can do that by selecting the output that I want to assign and then going and finding the actual source that I want to pull it from. So here's my main PA left and my main PA right. Now, one thing I want to mention is our Ultranet is routed from 33 through 48. So these 16 channels between 33 and 48 is what actually shows up on this Ultranet port here on the SD8. So if you're utilizing the P16 system, you will need to use these 16 outputs between 33 and 48 for wherever this SD8 is plugged into your WING.